Let's see. Hello, everyone. This is Demetria with Vantage Point Coaching, and today's Finish Friday. Hopefully, you are doing well out there. It is officially springtime. Yay! So, I didn't come to you last Finish Friday. It was spring break week, so I took a week off. But I'm back. I'm back today. And today I want to talk about a topic that's been a lot in our news lately. And if you are participating in any type of organizational process, the topic around diversity, equity, and inclusion has been coming up a lot. So we just came out of Black History Month. We're squarely in Women's History Month. We had International Women's Day. We had Pay Equity Day this week. And so today I wanted to talk about this topic. It can be a very thorny topic, but I don't think it has to be. I don't believe that things that are difficult or that we deem difficult actually have to be difficult. Sometimes we just have to break them down in order for us to be able to make significant strides and significant improvements in this area. So there's a few little things I want to start with to try to break it down in a one, two, three, and then I'm going to share some of the beatitudes that we have here, Vantage Point Coaching, around the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But the first thing, wherever you are on your journey, is number one, recognize and acknowledge our shared humanity. You know, we are all human beings on this big rock in the middle of outer space that revolves around this sun. You know, we all have some very basic things in common as humans, and that's where we have to start, is recognize and acknowledge that we are all just human beings doing our best every day to survive and thrive here on this planet Earth. Now, what's happening in outer space? I don't know. Maybe we'll get there one day. The next thing, number two, recognize and acknowledge our own biases. We all have them. We all have the ability to not act on our biases. We all have the choice to not exclude others based on our biases. But again, we first recognize and acknowledge that they exist if we're going to be able to make good, sound judgments and policies and have great relationships. Because if we act as if they don't exist, or that I am so evolved that I don't have any biases, you're going to miss the boat every single time. So recognize and acknowledge our own biases. We all have them. So recognize it, acknowledge it. Third thing that everybody can do is recognize and acknowledge our responsibility. We each have our own responsibility in this thing. It is not upon the person who has felt left out, who has felt excluded, who has felt marginalized to make us feel better about ourselves. It is not their responsibility to teach us so that we can feel better about ourselves. That is not their responsibility. And now, if you have a personal relationship with someone who has some differences and they want to share with you, and you all have those type of conversations, that's great, but it's still not their responsibility. It's really your responsibility. It's my responsibility. I have to learn. I have to learn for myself so that I can continue to move forward and operate in a very inclusive and supportive way that really helps everybody grow and everybody thrive and everybody be their absolute best. And so Advantage Point Coaching, I've been doing a lot of workshops and training around this topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I've come up with my Beatitudes. You know about the Beatitudes? If you have read the Bible, you don't have to be a Bible scholar to know about the Beatitudes. But I've come up with my own Vantage Point Coaching Beatitudes around diversity, diversity, equity, inclusion that I want to share with you. Again, as I said, we can make this very thorny, difficult topic, we can make it really easy to tackle if we just break it down into simpler terms. So, one, be intentional. You must be intentional if you are going to make strides in this area. You must be intentional to be inclusive. You must be intentional in examining your policies, your procedures, your practices if you want to really achieve equity and inclusion, if you want to achieve true diversity, not just diversity in ethnic arena, but diversity in thought, if you want to, and diversity in ability, all of those things. You have to be intentional about the moves that you make. So that's the beatitude number one. The second one is be intellectually curious. You have to want to know. Like I said, it is not that person who has been marginalized responsibility to teach you. It's or teach me. It's my responsibility to be intellectually curious enough to want to learn about them, about their experience, and walk a mile in their shoes. The next thing, we have to be honest. So, again, back to being honest about our own biases, about our own privileges, about our own life experiences, and how they actually may have had us living a life like this with blinders on and or with rose colored glasses, and not really seeing or understanding or even recognizing other people's life experience and lived experiences that are different than ours. We have to be honest about some of the things that we accepted in the past are no longer acceptable. Some of the things we may have done and said, we may have hurt people, and we might say, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal if I hurt you. We have to be honest. If we're not going to be honest, we're not going to move forward in this area. The next thing is we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable for the things we do. We have to be accountable for the things we say. We have to be accountable for the decisions that we make. And sometimes we're going to miss the boat, and we'll talk about what to do when we miss the boat in a bit here. But we have to be accountable. We have to own our stuff, and we also have to own the stuff of those around us. So if you're a leader in a leadership position, and you are believing or thinking you're operating in an equitable and inclusive way, and you get information that you're not, or you get feedback that you're not, you have to be accountable to do something about it. Fix it, change it, do something about it. We also have to be genuine, sincere, and authentic. Folks can smell a poser, like we know you're coming. So if you are just doing performative acts with think pieces and statements, hey, while they're nice, guess what? They're not going to move the needle. They're not going to make things happen. So if you're not genuine, you're not sincere, you're not authentic, don't even start down this road and trying to do this work, because it is going to fall apart, and you are actually going to make the situation worse. So I would say prepare, be ready, so that you can be in a space of authenticity as you go about creating a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment. And the last thing is be human. We're going to make mistakes. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. And when you do that, if you are intentional, if you're intellectually curious, if you're honest, if you're accountable, if you're genuine, sincere, and authentic, you create an environment where you can be human and others around you can be human. And as a leader, that's what we want. We want to bring our human selves. We are not drones. We are not robots. We want to bring our human selves to the table, because that's where all the richness in life is in our humanity, in our differences, in our greatness, and our talent, skills, and abilities, knowledge, and all the funky quirkiness that make us who we are. So allow yourself to be human in this space around diversity, equity, and inclusion, knowing that sometimes I'm going to mess up. And if I mess up, I'm going to be accountable. I'm going to be honest, genuine, sincere. You're going to follow those beatitudes. You create an environment for you to be human and create an environment for others to be human as well. And so That's our Finish Friday on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, if you want to learn more about this topic, and if you want to learn more about how to have these thorny conversations, how to break them down, how to simplify the approach, let us know. So here's our website. You can subscribe to our website. You can get updates, newsletters, know what we have going on at Vantage Point Coaching. And you also can, when we have a workshops or any type of training around this, hey, you want to be there. You can also fill out a contact form because you might want to have this type of talk within your environment. You might want to bring one of us in to talk within your organization about how we can take this difficult topic around diversity, equity, inclusion and help us get it right, because we can get it right if we do those first three things I talked about: shared humanity, our own biases, a responsibility. And if we practice these Beatitudes: intentional, intellectually curious, be honest, be accountable, genuine, sincere, and authentic, and be human. If we do all of those things, we can actually we can make a difference here in this area. And lastly, I'll say email us. So if you don't want to go to the website, just shoot us a quick email and say, hey, you know what? I want to learn more about how I can take this topic. We need to be able to go deeper here within my organization. As a leader, I'm committed to creating a truly inclusive environment that recognizes the richness of all of our differences, and also an environment where there is equity. I want to do that. I am committed to that. Let's work together. Shoot us an email and let's do it. And so that's today's Finish Friday on the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I hope the tips that we provided help you. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.